Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gentleman. I'm Topher and I started this channel because I'm a fan of craft beer, but I'm also on a limited budget. So I wanted to demonstrate that it's possible to enjoy good quality beers without having to break the bank. But come along, join me, and let's demystify and remove some of the elitism surrounding craft beer. Today's selection I paid $3.67 for, which is not bad considering it's a pint can. And it's actually it's not only a pint can, but it's a good quality beer. And it is the Brew Energy Hazy Double IPA with mango, brewed primarily, I believe, by Mason Ale Works and Stave and Nail Brewery as well. It's a collaborative effort between the two. I had never heard of Stave and Nail previously, so I went to their website, and I get the feeling that they're a very, very, very young brewery. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if honestly this is their freshman batch or freshman efforts at even brewing anything. They are. I wasn't really able to find much out anything about them at all, where they are, what beers they brew. In fact, when I went to the beers link, there was no beers listed. So I get the feeling Stave and Nail is very, very new. Now I am familiar with Mason Ale Works. They are out of San Marcos, California, which is, if you're unfamiliar, what they call North County in San Diego County. This beer has had a really, I think this is a very, very new beer. And I tell you why. One, I have 0 friends on Untappd who have checked in on it. Only 103 people have checked in, period. Now, of those 103, we've got an average score, or a cumulative score, excuse me, of 3.92. So it's actually received rather high scores. But there's no ranking whatsoever on Beer Advocate. So I think we're dealing with a new beer, and one of the breweries that made this is very, very new. We do still have the independent craft right there. That tells me that both of these breweries have to be in accordance with those standards. You can go up and look. You can actually look up the standards for independent craft, what they hold true in order to be an independent craft brewery according to their standards. I believe it to be a valuable tool. As I said, hasn't I don't think this beer's been on the market particularly long. I myself do have experience with Mason Ale Works, and it's been kind of hit or miss, I have to admit. Of the 4 beers that I've had from them previously, I've got a average score of 3.31, so not particularly high scores amongst this reviewer. Oh, I forgot to mention, it has an 8% ABV. Typically, double IPA, American double IPAs come in between 7.5 and 10%. Don't have an IBU count for you. So normally, Imperial IPAs come in between 60 and 120 on the IBU count, which I always find very unusual because more often than not, I find that double IPAs actually are less bitter than the standard IPAs. Maybe it's the mellowing process, maybe it's the extra alcohol that tends to bring down the bitterness. I'm not entirely certain, but every time when I go and I look at the IBU count on an Imperial, and then I remember that they come in between 60 and 120. I just think that's so surprising to me. It's usually hell. I've had sessions who seem to have much more bitterness to them than the IPAs, and maybe that is the distinction, the alcohol. It's very possible. Okay, so I think we've got all the information in about this. As I said, Brew Energy IPA with mango. I got to tell you, man, you brewers out there, you're going nuts about mango. I myself have never been that big a fan of mango, I admit. But it is certainly the fruit du jour, and y'all are putting mango, 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 mango all over the place. In fact, this is it wasn't that long ago that I did another mango beer, Mango Sprinkles from Coronado, another San Diego brewer. Um, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to step up on my soapbox real quick here. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of politics and whatnot, but I'm going to tell you right now, we've got to have more diversity. Diversity is what I was trying to say. I was going to say diversification, but that's not really what I mean. We need diversity in brewing. We need more brewers of color. We need more women brewers. We've got to have something besides chubby white guys who look like me brewing beer because y'all are following the trends too much. Way too many IPAs out there and far too much mango appearing in beers. And this is nothing. This is not a denigration against this beer. As you can see, I haven't opened it. I haven't tasted it. I might love this beer. But honestly, guys, I'm dying for a trend-setting brewery out there. Somebody who looks around and says, oh, okay, is that what everybody's doing? Well, then let's do this instead. Somebody who maybe has a different palate than the overly conditioned palate that we've all grown on IPAs and mango. Anyway, down from soapbox. I am in fact using my tulip glass. If you are drinking an imperial or a double anything, whether it's say an IPA or a red ale or a stout, what have you, you want to be drinking out of a tulip glass, a Belgian glass. Okay, what you are seeing is at least two shades or two tints darker than the actual beer itself. The beer is actually much, much lighter in color than what you're seeing on the camera. I'm going to describe that as medium-low carbonation. We do have some carbonation, but it's just, some bubbles here and there. It's not crazy amounts of bubbles. That head is dissipating very quickly. I'm going to refer to it as flimsy, in fact. And I want to stress something else too. When I refer to a head as flimsy, that's just the characteristic of the head. That's not a statement on the quality of the beer. Some beers have big, robust heads. Some have flimsy heads. That's not an indication of how good the beer is going to be. It's just one of the markers of it. So, let me give this a quick beard wipe, see what I encounter. Smell that mango puree, that's for sure. Wow, did I really smell it? Stick my schnoz in, see if I can come up with anything else. Smelling a lot of malt, actually. I'm not really smelling much in the way of hops. I'm smelling malt, and then I'm still getting that mango puree, as I said. Yeah, that sweet, tangy smell of mango is definitely coming up through, and I've got a malt complex here, but I'm not noticing a lot in the way of hops. Uh, as I said, they didn't list an IBU on this beer, so I don't really know what kind of bitterness we should be expecting. But I do know that it's time for me to start drinking some beer. So, cheers. Sorry, had a hiccup right in the middle of drinking that. Oh, let's get that passed down. Okay, that's better. Sorry about that, guys. That took just a second. Terrible, terrible timing on that one. Okay, what I am tasting for sure is mango. I am tasting mango, mango, mango. I am not really tasting much in the way of a hop profile. And I'd say I'm getting honestly more of the malt composition than I am of the hop profile. I'm going to describe that as a low mouthfeel. There's really no spikiness to it whatsoever. No real alcohol burn either. You know how like sometimes a fruity drink like a pina colada or a mai tai, oh, it tastes so good you don't taste the alcohol, but really you do. Like you do kind of taste the alcohol. That's not the case with this. I'm tasting the mango. I'm getting the malt profile, but I'm not getting much in the way of alcohol burn at all. And as I said, there's no spikiness. It's mango forward, and yet it's not overly mango. Like I don't feel like I'm sitting here eating a spoonful of mango puree. It is added to the beer. I gotta say, this is a pretty good beer, especially considering I don't particularly like mango. Um, my one problem with this is that it doesn't really, it's not, I don't think it's very much in keeping with a double IPA standard otherwise. As I said, we've got the strong puree flavor. Maybe it's just a matter of tempering down, but I like it in an IPA when somebody has figured out how to bring out hoppy flavor and meld that with a good malt composition. Those are my favorite IPAs. I don't feel like the hops are making much of an appearance at all in this beer. I gotta be honest with you, if you told me that this was, I don't know, maybe no, it doesn't taste like a lager, but trying to think of what other beer this could maybe. If you told me this was an imperial blonde with mango, I'd probably believe you. It is a good beer. It's not. I don't think it's very true to the double IPA standard, or the imperial IPA is what I should be saying is the preferred term. Um, it's definitely. I mean, you see how you can see my finger through there. See it moving? It's not hazy in the slightest. Not the least bit hazy. So while I do think this is a tasty beer, I don't know that it's particularly good because it doesn't conform to the standards. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the beer itself deserves a 4.0. And because I always give a canned beer an extra 0.25, I would give it the extra 0.25. But I think it's, so we got 4 for the beer, we got 0.25 for the can, but we've got negative 0.25 because, actually I'd even go so far as to say negative 0.5 because it's just not true to the standards of the beer. It's a good beer. Don't get me wrong. If you enjoy mango, and even if you don't enjoy mango, as I'm somebody who doesn't, you're going to like this beer. But if you're looking for an Imperial IPA, if you're looking for a New England style IPA, a hazy IPA, this is not the beer. This just isn't it, gang. I'm going to, I want to pour this a little bit more. Let's take a look at it. Look at how clear that is. That's not even remotely New England style. I can see my finger. You can see my finger as I do this behind. You shouldn't be able to see my finger through a New England IPA. So where were we? 4 for the beer, 0.25 for the can. So we're down to 3.75 is what I'm going to give this beer. So not a bad beer if you're, if you want something light and crisp. I wouldn't call it crisp, but actually if you want something light and mangoey, it's good. But I don't think it's true to form to an Imperial IPA. So guys, if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers.